question 22, did you? Y is equal to x outside of x plus 2, x minus 2, is that right? So the vertical asymptotes are when the bottom's equal to 0. So in other words, x plus 2 cannot equal to 0, x minus 2 cannot equal to 0, x equals to minus 2, and x equals to plus 2. They both must be, got it? Hold on. Which one is this one? This one here? Yep. So, yep. What else do we have to find? Yeah, the horizontal asymptote is basically, the horizontal asymptote is you basically examine what happens as x gets extremely large. So as x approaches positive infinity, y approaches what's that? As x approaches positive infinity, in other words, oh, sorry, Alex. If x gets really, 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 really large, and this gets really, really, really large, what's going to happen? Well, let's have a look at what happens. All right. So you got x on x plus 2 and x minus 2. As x gets really, 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 really large, can you see that this and this are going to be roughly the same thing? Does that make sense? They're going to cancel each other out. Does that make sense? And you've got an x here that is going to approach infinity, right? So what happens is x, 1 on x, as x gets really, really, really big on the bottom, what's going to happen? It's going to approach 0. And what happens if you go negative infinity? Yep, x approaches to negative infinity. So in other words, x approaches to infinity the other way, and you get a really, 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 really massive, what do you call it? A negative number. Y will continue. Does that make sense? Y will also approach 0, right? But let's have a think. As x approaches positive infinity, will that be positive or negative? As this gets really, really, really big positively, that'll be positive. Yep. As this gets really, really, really big positively, that'll be positive. Minus a negative will still be positive, right? Because you've got positive infinity minus like a really small number 4 in comparison. It's still going to be positive, yes? Yep, so it's as x approaches positive infinity, y is going to approach 0, but it's going to approach 0 from above or from below. So in other words, it's going to approach 0 as a positive number approaching 0, getting smaller, or from a negative number, which is minus, reaching 0. So you've got a positive number over another positive number, so the answer will be approach 0 from above. So you put a little plus there. That basically tells you that you're approaching 0 from above. What happens when we substitute in there negative infinity? Negative infinity, that becomes negative. That becomes a negative number squared, which is positive, minus a limited number, as opposed to a limitless number. All right? That's going to be overall, the bottom's going to be overall positive, but the top's going to be overall negative, right? Which makes it negative. So is it going to approach 0 from above or below? Yeah, got it? And that's going to be really helpful with the asymptote. So the asymptote is 0. As x gets increasingly large, right, y is going to approach the x-axis from above. Y is going to approach the negative x-axis from below. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. That's exactly right. So sketch the graph. What else do we need to sketch a graph? Well done. The intercepts. Yeah, we've got to work out where the intercepts are. Where are the intercepts? Just ask. Yep. What is y when x equals to 0? And what is x when y equals to 0? Got it? Yep. So let's work that out. When x equals to 0, y equals to 0. When y equals to 0, let's have a think. X has to be equal to? Yeah, as well. So the only point that we know that it passes through will be the origin. Okay. So the intercepts are the origin. Got it?
Yeah.
What else? So we know the vertical asymptotes. We've got the horizontal asymptotes. Yep. And then we've also got the, what do you call it? The roots, or the places where the intercepts, where they cross the x and y axis, which is at the origin. Yep. Anything else that we need to know? One more thing. Yep. And the
Range.
is there anything x cannot equal to? Yep. Anything that y cannot equal to? Yep. Yeah. Y cannot equal to? So right in the main, the range. Okay, hold on. Now y, work out y is equal to, well, so the domain of y. Yeah, so it's basically y cannot equal to 0. Because remember, y equals to 0 is a vertical asymptote. Remember that?
Yeah.
So, let's work this out. Let's graph what this might look like. So we've already worked out this point here. So we already worked out this point here, which is basically you guys see? Alex, can you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Trying to see. Why is my pen not working? Right, so it's minus, right? Okay, cool. So let's have a think. So yeah, I'm gonna change color, but we'll use the yellow, right? So that's the x-axis. That's the y-axis. That's y. That's x. Sorry. So then you got that, and then you got that, that, and you got that. This is going to be a vertical. The horizontal asymptote going that way. This is going to be a horizontal asymptote going that way. You've got 2 and minus 2, which are your horizontal asymptotes. So that's minus 2 there, and you've got 2 there. Dot, 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 dot. Dot, 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 dot. Passes through the origin. Yep. Alright, so this one's going to go up like that. It's going to go down like that. Now, as x gets positive, right? So let's test 1, the number 1, positive 1. 1 over 1 over here. 1 over 1 squared minus 4. What's 1 squared minus 4? Minus 3. So 1 over minus 3, is that positive or negative?
Negative.
Negative. Right, so that's there. Right. And let's try minus 1. Minus 1 squared, which is 1. Minus 4 is negative. Over minus 1, which is negative again. So negative over a negative is positive. So in this situation, it's positive. Does that make sense? So it's probably going to look like this. So it's going to look like that. Got it?